What's up, everyone? Hobart hooked me up with this Handler 190 MIG welder, so I'm pretty much an awesome welder now. Now, of course, that's nowhere near true, but I have had some success. My welds aren't really very pretty, but they're working. I've done some projects at this point. So thanks to Hobart, actually, this was very timely sponsorship because I had some projects coming up that I really need welding capability, so that was great. A quick note on gear. I did pick up, and this I paid for, the Hobart Auto Darkening helmet. Hobart sent me the welder, so I figured I'd look at their helmet first. And it had really good reviews on Amazon, and it darkens quickly, 1/30,000th of a second, and the lens darkens. And that seemed like a good thing to, keep as much ultraviolet out of your eyes as possible. That's practically nothing. So I've been real happy with it. Links for the welder and the helmet are in the description. And now I'll show you the first stuff I did with it. So the first thing I did was use flux core wire to lay down some beads on some scrap steel. Now for my first couple projects, flux core wire is what I'm using. I'd like to switch this over to a bottle and I guess just standard wire. But for now, this is all I had, and I didn't really have time to get that set up. But I just got a feel for different voltages, different wire speed rates. Sometimes I ground the mill scale off, sometimes I didn't. I started welding pieces of scrap steel together in sort of a bizarre modern art looking thing. But the welds seemed to get better as I went. It's hard to even put my finger on exactly what was changing as I went. To some extent, I was playing around with the settings. If I was pitting and burning through too much, I turned the voltage down like the instructions said. But I think a part of it is just kind of getting a feel for moving the puddle of liquid metal around and the pattern that I'm moving the electrode in and so on. It just seemed like it got better as I practiced more. So this is the first thing that I want to make. For my next project, I want a decent bench. This is my design for the whole bench. It's got spaces in between those 6-inch bars, and then on the left are some slats where I can do plasma cutting in the future. Now this bench probably won't be perfect, but just like with woodworking, your first bench isn't perfect, but it's good enough and you learn, and someday you build a better one. So I'm not going to stress out about a perfect design. I'm just going to get this built. And actually, for now, I'm just building the top, and I'm going to set it on sawhorses because I'm short on time, and I've been spending a lot of money. This is, even with the free welder, it was expensive. And metal ain't cheap, so I gotta watch the pocketbook. Why so expensive, you ask? Well, I felt the need to buy this saw, which for this project and the next one, I'm really glad I did because it made it a whole lot faster. But it wasn't the cheapest thing in the world. So I cut some pieces for that bench that you saw, and I figure I'll give myself every advantage and grind off the mill scale. Now, if you have the welder set up perfectly and the movement of the electrode is perfect, you can punch through that mill scale and still get a good weld from what I understand. But being a rookie, seems like taking the extra time and getting a nice clean surface stacks things in my favor. So now I get busy welding these sections of angle onto the bars that make the top. These are starting to look almost respectable. I get everything positioned and I drill holes in the tube stock that the top bars will mount to. And I had pre-drilled holes in the angle, I just didn't show it. And I used some spacers and just set everything up for the next bar and clamp it up, and then head back to the welding setup. And I repeat that until I have this top that is very heavy. And I just had thrown my back out, so I just had an awful time trying to get this thing up onto the sawhorses. I really should have taken it apart and put it all back together on top of the sawhorses, but I was trying to save time, which caused me trouble. But eventually, I made it happen. I need to find a chiropractor. Anyway, it worked, and now I have a welding top for my next project. and that video will be posted shortly. So thanks again, Hobart. Welder was awesome. You know, I'm not an expert welder. I can't say that this welder was, you know, heads and tails better than anything else you'll find. That'd be disingenuous to say, but I can say that it seemed to work well for me, and I appreciate the sponsorship. So check them out.